So the topic for this first session is FinTech Challenges and Opportunities. And it is my pleasure to introduce Mr. P. Vasudevan, Chief General Manager, Reserve Bank of India. Mr. Vasudevan currently heads the Payment and Settlement Systems function in RBI. He has led and successfully implemented many large payment system projects and initiatives in RBI. A career central banker with over 28 years of experience, he also has extensive experience in the banking and non-banking supervision space and has handled technology audits of large institutions as part of this role. He's a cost and management accountant with masters in finance and certifications in information systems audit and information security management. He's also an alumnus of the Wharton School. Mr. Vasudevan also figures in the top 30 Indian FinTech influencers 2022. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Over to you.
Good morning, everyone. It's indeed very exciting to talk to youngsters and be part of the academia. I'm very grateful for the opportunity that I've got today. Thanks to Dr. Narasimha Murthy, Dean Research, for inviting me and making me interact with you. I also was lucky to hear the inaugural speeches and inputs. I also like what you call as VE is resonating very much with me, because my name being Vasudevan, I also often get referred to as V by my few friends. I'm very glad to be here. In fact, I do fondly remember having visited the Wellinkar campus in Mumbai, Matunga, as part of a course that I was attending. Good morning to each one of you, and hope you are all staying safe and taking good care of yourselves. For those who are joining in from other jurisdictions, good afternoon, good evening as well. The topic FinTech is that has been chosen for this particular conference is extremely contemporary, and will probably remain so for the next as many years plus as well as you can think. Financial services domain has always been exciting, and it will remain relevant as well, because banking, non-banking, insurance, wealth management, investment, fundraising, etc. are areas which are required for any individual, whichever side and size of the balance sheet you may aspire to have. And each of these areas have their own sub and subsub areas as well. To define FinTech, there is no universal standard available. Basically, it means use of technology to deliver financial services better in a customized and cost-effective manner. Be it the last mile or the first mile, or even as an intermediary at the middle of the transaction value chain, the FinTech role is very important, and it actually will continue to remain because of some thoughts and discussions that we have later. I just want to make a small disclaimer here before I continue. I do don the regulatory hat as of now and look after the payment space, but let us treat this as an academic discussion, and maybe I will have to be a little careful about some examples that I use, but let it not be taken in any other manner. Let it be for discussion purposes that we are looking at some of the thoughts and practices of the fintechs here. And of course, on the challenges and opportunities that the fintech industry provides for each one of us. I'll be very happy if any one of you has any point in between or any aspect that you want clarity about. I would not mind being disturbed as well. The mention was being made a little while before about the availability of newer technologies, about the support from various stakeholders for various activities in the country, and so also is FinTech lucky to get government patronization, as also the various inputs and discussions that are presently on to make the lives of the FinTechs, and in the process all the stakeholders that are part of this ecosystem better. So that's why I always felt that the theme of the conference being stakeholder well-being through value creation is very apt to have started to have also included FinTech as one of its themes. The role of a fintech is to actually look at a particular transaction and see how we can slice and dice. And in the process, how we can actually better the user interface, UI, what is called, and user experience, UX, what is called at every stage, with the fond hope that the entire end-to-end activity becomes purposeful to the consumer. Consumer could be anyone, business, individuals, government, anyone could be a consumer. These can actually help in creating newer business models, applications, processes, practices, be it for the wholesale segments or the retail segments. When I say wholesale, I'm talking about large value, maybe business to business types of transactions. When I say retail, it's typically the opposite. The small value is also the business to consumer and such retail or small value transactions. The fintechs always try to enter into areas where probably there is a bit of a vacuum or a need for intervention available. And that is something that also gives many a sleepless nights, even to the regulators sometimes. And I will tell you why the thought of getting some sleepless nights come about when we get into these discussions. You must have heard of fintech, the big techs, the tech fins and deep techs, and many such phrases being used. You also must be very comfortable in listening to phrases and words like minicons, unicorns, decacons, hectocons, each one depending on what is the valuation that they are looking at, whether it's a million, billion, trillion, etc., etc. And I am also seeing phrases that are being used by the other side, that is the investor side, about unicorns, gazelles, and cheetahs, depending on whether somebody is nearing to be a unicorn or likely to be a unicorn in the next 2, 4, 5 years, etc. It's understood that the unicorn space in India is very, very exciting. Probably the fintech and the unicorn phase or space has been so grateful or huge in terms of growth that we are ranked third in terms of the country adoption, maybe after US and China. And in the last couple of years, this pace of growth has significantly increased. Maybe what we had as unicorns a couple of years back has doubled in just a small time period. And this is going to grow as well and increase in terms of number, going by the figures that are put out by various groups and various interested parties. This is where I also feel that we need to have a lot of research to see what's the space available, whether the numbers are credible. And I'm sure you as youngsters and you as researchers will play a significant role here going forward. We have almost say 18 to 20,000 startups in the country. And if you look at the number of unicorns that are being talked about, they may be 1 or less than 1% in terms of number. And so it also means that there are those 100 units of which one could become big in terms of their activities, big in terms of their acceptance, and big in terms of their growth. The rest will have to find ways to create values, find ways in terms of they can be of relevance to the ecosystem. And funding has definitely not been a problem. If you look at the growth of the unicorns, as I was saying a minute or so before, the funding has never been a problem. There are those people outside available who are willing to fund good ideas and encourage innovations. I also fondly watch the channel where the Shark Tank gets played. And if you see some of those people who are aspiring to be like pitching their ideas, and those on the other side who are willing to invest, if you see, there is always an expectation about growth. And even from the people who are about to invest or who are willing to invest, if you see, the growth they are expecting in their investments is typically like 3x, 4x, 5x in the next couple of years. Such is the range of growth that is expected. So for that purpose, there needs to be a good idea that is being pursued. And how do you actually ensure that the idea reaches a proportion that is huge and addresses some issue that is existing as of now? From individual offerings, the countries are seeing that the entities are getting into platforms and marketplaces, and the scope is extremely huge. If you look at a country like India, we are huge in terms of the number of people we are huge in terms of the age of the population, in terms of the youngsters being available. And the present pandemic has also helped in terms of digitizing many of the activities that we are normally used to doing it in any other way. For example, be it education, be it health, be it logistics, be it media, be it gaming, be it real estate. The list can be endless. And all these facilities that are available to us now are thanks to the fintechs who are willing to experiment. And I also fondly remember some of the people who are saying that I have dropped out of good B schools and Ivy League schools in other jurisdictions just to pursue an idea and take it forward. Finance is a very important area. Everybody in the world is interested in money, and be it for their own safety purposes or be it for investment and earning purposes. Money is always the cornerstone of everyone's purpose in life. I'm talking about most of us. Maybe there are those who are always there with a service bent of mind, for whom money may be a little less material. But generally, when I talk about finance, I look at the importance of money. And when we look at the importance of money, we also look at the importance of the financial institutions. The banks are always an institution of trust, and that needs to be maintained as well. So the people who are coming into the country in terms of startups, etc., the most of the excitement is in the fintech space for the very purpose that this is critical to everyone's day-to-day activities, and it is also essential that the financial services space provides an entry point for people to come in and get into other sectors as well. And in the financial sector space, the domain where I am in, the payment space, is also seeing significant interest, because this is actually the gateway to the financial services sector. You can come here, try to experiment with your products. You can try to, as I earlier said, slice and dice a particular payment transaction chain and see where you can value add. And then maybe you can expand your product and try to acquire a good customer base, and thereafter get into various other areas. I am seeing people talk about onboarding customers in multiple X's. The X is an alphabet here, year on year, and some of them are so well able to customize their product and reach out to the customers or to their user base, that the people who had, say, downloaded some of their apps a couple of years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, they still continue to be their customers. This is not a simple activity, because everybody we know is always looking at something better going forward, or something else that my neighbor is doing. In the process, we always find that the product or the app that we use can actually give us a better service. But when I see the customer retention and the customer loyalty policies